Samsung has changed a lot over the years, and in this video I will explain why you should never invest in a Samsung phone in 2023, and it's mostly down to 3 reasons. But before we dive into the reasons, I know that there will be a lot of angry Samsung fans who will be very angry in the comments. So before you type your hate comment, just know that I'm not trying to insult Samsung nor their fans, and I'm not saying that you are an idiot for buying a Samsung product. I'm not saying that at all, and I'm not an Apple or a Samsung or a Google fan or any particular company. I'm just a consumer who's looking for the best value for the money, and I'm assuming most people are as well. And this video is all about the big picture, so please listen to the end and let me know what you think. Samsung is losing market share and less customers are buying their phones every day, and the future doesn't look very bright for the company, and that all goes back to the 3 reasons we mentioned earlier. And those 3 reasons are poor innovations, poor identity, and poor ecosystem. So what do I exactly mean by this? Well, if we start with the poor innovations, since Samsung started making smartphones to this day, it was the default Android options for decades, and a part of this is because Samsung was the best company that offered new innovations in terms of technology and design nearly every single year. So buying a Samsung phone meant something really exciting but also affordable at the same time. But as we all know, over the years innovations became less and less because phones and other devices are becoming really good, so it's a bigger risk now to be innovative or creative or to try out some new technologies. So Samsung lost one of their biggest weapons, and the new S23 phones that we just got are the biggest sign of that. The phones were basically the same as the S22 lineup, but with just some minor improvements overall, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing in general, because other companies like Apple and Google are doing it, but it's particularly bad for Samsung because it's known for innovation and being exciting. So by not doing that, it leads to the second reason of why Samsung is failing, which is poor identity. If I ask you what are the things that make Samsung different or special from other companies, you will probably struggle to find a real answer. Are they just a budget company? Well, not really, because the budget phones that Samsung make are so bad and not good value for the money, and they can never compete with other companies that make budget phones like Xiaomi, Oppo, or any other budget company, because they all make very good phones with a cheap price, and that's their focus. Whereas Samsung doesn't really do that, because if they make their cheap price phones very good, no one would buy the more expensive phones. And Samsung doesn't really want to do that because most of the profit comes from the most expensive phones. So does that mean Samsung is a mid-range focused company? Well, not really, because again, when you compare the mid-range phones that Samsung make, like the S23 or the S23 Plus or any regular phone that Samsung make, they just lose very quickly when you compare them to other mid-range phones like the Google Pixel 7 and 7 Pro phones. And these, in my opinion, just dominate this mid-range price, because Google focused on building a great phone like the regular 7 with a fantastic price, or the 7 Pro for people who want the absolute best. And these two Google phones are very close to the price of the regular S23 and S23 Plus. And without getting into too much details, Google phones beat the regular S23 and the S23 Plus in every single way. So it seems to me that Samsung is focusing on the high end, which is the shiny S23 Ultra. But is this actually a good move? Well, I don't really think so, because of the third reason we had earlier, which is the poor ecosystem. The S20 Ultra is meant to compete in the high end against other high end phones, and let's face it, if you want to compete in the high end, you have to compete with Apple, because as we said earlier, each company has an identity. Google focused on the mid-range while Apple is focused on the high end, and being luxurious. So when Samsung tries to compete in that area, it will lose because of the ecosystem. I mean, generally, when someone is paying the very high price for these very expensive and luxurious phones, there are either people who have a lot of money or people who are interested in the technology itself and appreciate all the extra option you get with these very expensive phones. And in both cases, these two people are likely to get into the company ecosystem. So that raises the question, which company has a better ecosystem? Well, Apple has better AirPods, better tablets, better computers, better app optimization, and all of the devices feel like one device and they all talk to each other very well. And Samsung sort of has that, but nowhere near how good the Apple ecosystem is. So what I'm saying is that Samsung is losing in every category and it will probably continue to lose over time. So if you are trying to invest in an ecosystem, or you might be investing in the near future, just keep in mind that Samsung is going downhill and you probably have better options depending on what you actually want. So yeah, let me know if you have other opinions in the comments below, and thank you for watching.